Hey everybody, Black Ninja So 97 here, and today's video, this is going to be another top 5 video, and today's video, we are going to be doing the top 5 worst Overwatch maps in the game. This can vary from escort maps, control maps, even the 3v3 maps, just whatever is just designed, poorly, whatever is designed to be good and ends up playing very bad, stuff like that. The maps that nobody wants to play but they're stuck playing on because you can't have a voting map system in the game. Otherwise there'd be no maps that would be in the rotation sometimes. But basically I'm going to be listing off my personal top 5 least favorite maps. If you guys have a top 5 least favorite maps, feel free to let me know what they are. I'm actually kind of curious what you guys think are the worst maps in the game, because Overwatch, I've never really associated anything negative necessarily with the maps. If I've ever complained about anything in this game, it's always about either the skill-based matchmaking or like the team balancing. Some of the characters need to be nerfed or like buffed, or like, something that's like meta wise, but not necessarily the maps. So this should be very interesting, but it was kind of actually hard to find some maps that I really didn't like. But then when I loaded up the game, I was just like, oh yeah, I remember that map. So these are going to be my top 5 least favorite maps in Overwatch, and I hope you guys do enjoy. So the very first map is going to be Numbani. I personally don't necessarily have a problem with Numbani. In fact, it's probably just because I don't like it in comp is the main reason why it's on here. A lot of these are going to be very comp heavy, except for one which you can't play on comp, which you'll find out later in the video why. But Numbani, it's a half and half map. You have to capture a objective to unlock a payload if you're on offense, and you have to defend, the point in order to not get a payload for the enemies. So it's a half and half map. The default first point that you're guarding or you're trying to attack is very open, but it's also very confined at the same time. The payload itself is exposed. It's not being blocked by anything necessarily. It's out in the open. But there's 3 core buildings that people hide. There's the people that hide directly behind the payload. There's the people that hide in the upper right building if you're on defense side and go on the upper floor or the bottom floor and just stalk it and don't move. And then there's the people that go on the upper ramp of the left building that is on defense or right on your offense. So there's a lot of hiding spots, but not directly on the payload. So people will either get high or shoot you like in the back or something like that. It's something really ridiculous, and that's why I don't particularly like Numbani. In fact, you're even seeing gameplay coincidentally of Numbani, so you know what I'm talking about. But I really just don't like Numbani for that reason, and it's one of the things that I don't necessarily have a problem with if I'm on defense, because I actually like this map. I like being more defense heavy than offensive heavy, but on the offense side, which is normally what I like to play as a role in any game, it's just not really that useful. Now, coming in at the number 4 spot is Volskaya Industries. This map is kind of a similar story, but a little bit more on the campy side. The map is another objective map, except that there's no payload. It's just literally a control map. The map has 2 points, just per usual, like any other control map. I don't know why I had to specify that, but anyway. But the first point is not necessarily the reason I have a problem with this map. It's the second point. And once again, it's another bias towards defense. This map is very, very biased towards defense. And I don't like how that you can just hide and, place a shield generator around an obscure corner and block it with, like, tons of turrets and playing as bastions. And the problem that I don't necessarily like about the map is that you're very protected defense-wise. It's not like it's got an advantage for being on defense just because it's, like, elevated or it's got a whole bunch of cover. It's just that you can't flank. That's my problem with it necessarily. Because here's the thing, is that the spawn is directly behind where people are usually camping. So by the time you get to them, you're immediately getting flanked by all their other teammates. So let's say that I was trying to be on the offense, right? And let's say that I was Soldier 76, somebody that can just sneak by and probably barely get around a corner just to avoid the line of fire that's being sprayed down at me. Let's say I'm trying to flank a bastion that is in the upper right of his side and the upper left of my side. So he would be in the corner on that upper ramp where everyone camps up on sometimes as turrets. Let's say I'm trying to flank him, but I have to go underneath him and have to go behind him and go up that staircase. And if I try to go up behind that staircase, if his teammates are just coming out of the spawn, which is very likely because it's right there, I am screwed. I don't like Volskaya because it's just very biased towards defense. Now, coming in at the number 3 spot, and ironically it has to do with the number 3, and you guessed it, it's Necropolis. This is starting to get into the more I really don't like these maps no matter what circumstance type of vibe. The first 2 were not necessarily a problem with me, I only have problems with them sometimes, but these last 3 maps, I hate them just altogether. I don't like playing them on them at all, except for just like, you know, TDM because they cut down the maps and make them smaller. But these maps outside of TDM, I do not like them whatsoever. These maps suck, and Necropolis is definitely one of them for the sole fact is that this map is extremely gigantically open. It's the exact opposite of what Numbani Volskaya is. It's too open. You have the whole entire middle with a giant hole that you can fall in and die, and then you have these giant long corridors on the side with upper and bottom floors that everyone just takes because no one's going to be stupid enough to run out in the open. And no one ever takes that bottom path where you can jump because it's just too risky. So everyone is either just dominantly left or dominantly right. And the thing is that nobody will move unless you're playing 3v3 and they have to go capture that one point in the middle that spawns. It's just extremely frustrating because, like, I literally either go left or right, left or right, left or right. It's literally just a giant circle clockwise or counterclockwise. There is no middle, and that's why it's confusing, and that's why it's unfair, in my opinion, is because a lot of people will play things like Pharah, and a lot of people will play things like, you know, Soldier or McCree, something that you're locked at a distance. You can't play something close quarters, like you can't play, for example, you can't play like Lucio, or you can't play, you know, any of the healers really effectively unless you're getting guarded by your teammates. And then again, though, I mean, who follows your teammates around unless you're, you know, partied up with friends that actually listen? So I just don't like Necropolis. It's just way too open. It's kind of like if you think about the Stonehaven of Overwatch. Now, coming in at the number 2 spot, this is going to be Temple of Anubis. This map is awful. I only somewhat like it to a certain degree in TDM, but other than that, this map is awful. And even in TDM, I don't even like it that much, just because it still doesn't even play that well. And the thing that I don't like about Temple of Anubis is that, once again, it's very defense heavy. A lot of these maps that I talk about that I don't necessarily like, I complain about them because they're really biased towards a certain side. If you think about it, all the maps that I've listed so far, they're biased on a side. They're biased on either the offense side, the defense side, or they just don't play well, and you have to, like, group up in a weird strategic manner, and you have to do, like, extreme military tactics to be able to just survive. So these are the maps that I don't like. It's the ones that are biased, that don't give a fair advantage to both teams, and that's why I don't like you know, Temple of Anubis, is because when you play on defense, you're going to do great. You're going to have a fun time, because obviously it's very difficult for you to lose the point, especially the second point. But if you're on offense, you're going to want to skin yourself alive. There is no exception. You know, you're just going to want to die, because it's that miserable. You're not going to have a good time trying to capture a point that's literally right on top of somebody's spawn, and they have a Symmetra nest in every corner, and a Bastion sitting there waiting for you, trying to say just like, "Oh hi, how you doing? I'm going to kill you now." You know, it's like, it's not that enjoyable at all, so I rather would not play Temple of Anubis if I could, but there's no voting system for the map, so I'm kind of stuck with it. Alright, now coming in at the number 1 spot, this is going to be Horizon Lunar Colony. Winston, I don't know where you decided to get the idea to lay out your home like this, but you gotta really reconsider who you're working with, dude, because, like, this is the worst entire TJ Cribs episode I've ever seen. This map is awful, because I have to give you a whole entire encyclopedia before I can even remotely tell you what the map has got wrong with it. So I got a lot to say before I can even wrap this up. So let's talk about this just really quickly before I lose my brain cells. So this map, it's not only biased towards one team, it's biased towards 2. So let me explain this part really quickly, because I'm gonna run out of time and I also don't want to bore you guys to death with me ranting. But the map is biased towards both sides. The first point is great for offense but horrible for defense, and the second point is horrible for offense but great for defense. The map, the way that's designed for the first point is that you've got more than 2 flank routes, and you also have the ability to get shot from above. That's why it's horrible for defense on the first part, but it's great for the offense, because you can flank them, you can get behind them, you can shoot above, it's great. And that's why you need to have a whole bunch of the annoying characters and just be able to keep the point. But the one thing I hate about the defense side is just that it's just as bad. It's literally just as bad. If you're on offense, you can't do anything. There's no flank routes. It's like the spawns are right next to the objective yet again, but there's also these elevated spots for people that camp that are in turret form as Bastion or using Symmetra nests, and you can't do anything about the defense, guys. So unless you get lucky on defending or, you know, offense on both points, you're gonna have like the worst time trying to keep a stable record in comp just by playing the map alone. It's that bad. I don't like this map at all. It sucks, it's annoying, and it could really just honestly be removed from the game and I wouldn't even care. It's just that bad. But anyways, guys, this is going to be today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Let me know once again what your and least favorite maps are in the comment section below for Overwatch. I'm really just curious what you guys gotta say, because this map is honestly horrible, and I rather would play on any of these other 4 any other day than play on Horizon Lunar Colony. That map is just, just awful. But anyways, guys, I'll see you later. Peace.